Do you know what this is? This is the driver's footrest by Ilium Works. It goes right onto the stock BMW engine guards on the K1600GTL series. Stick around and we'll show you just how easy it is to get them installed right here on Touring America.
Wires from Greensboro and North Carolina.
Welcome back to Touring America. Today we're going to look at installing the Ilium Works driver's footrests on the adjustable mounts that are compatible with the stock BMW engine guard. We're going to roll in some footage here of how the units come packaged up. Packaged up really well, double boxed, everything wrapped in bubble wrap. I've used Ilium Works products before, particularly these footrests on a Wunderlich engine guard, but when I got the exclusive, it did come with the stock BMW guards included. So rather than pulling those all off and going back to the Wunderlich, which I actually was very happy with, they performed very well for me on my last bike, we're going to give these stock BMW ones a try. I think I've mentioned before in my other videos, I do like the looks of these a little bit better. They're a lot more low profile. They don't stick out like the Wunderlich ones do, but I'm a little bit worried about the protection, so we'll see how it goes. Ilium Works did come out with this kit specifically for the BMW engine guards as a way to get an adjustable footrest for drivers. It lets you slide the footrests forward and backwards to accommodate different driver leg lengths and seating positions. So let's go over what comes in the box. You've got 2 foot pegs. They come wrapped up just like you see on the top, the one labeled right side. The one on the bottom I've already unwrapped, it's labeled left side. So there's no question about where that stuff goes. The footrest is pre-installed onto the adjustable post, and it comes with a set of instructions and 2 separate Allen wrenches. And that's everything that you'll need to pull off this installation. It's very straightforward. So let's take a look specifically at what the instructions say to do. So here's a little bit better close-up of what's actually in the package, and we'll read you the instructions here real quick. There's only 6 steps. Place the motorcycle on the center stand on level ground. Using 4 of the 1032 Allen screws and the 5/32 Allen wrench, lightly clamp the highway pegs to the front portion of the engine guard below the cylinder head so that they are horizontal when extended and adjusted forward and aft until your feet are in the most comfortable position. Check that the pegs fold under the cylinder head without interference. Step 3, when you have determined that it's correct, remove 1 screw at a time and apply blue Loctite. When you have adjusted everything to your satisfaction using the 1/8 inch Allen wrench, lightly snug the 1/4 20 set screw in the inside part of the clamp, then back off the 2 bottom 1032 Allen head screws until you can retighten the 1/4 20 set screw an additional 1/4 turn. Now retighten the bottom 1032 Allen head screws, causing the 1/4 inch 20 set screw to bite into the bar and prevent the highway pegs from rotating when your feet are placed on them. Step 5. Now that the highway pegs are installed, it's time to adjust for length. First, using the supplied 5/32 Allen wrench, loosen all 4 1032 Allen screws in the mounting clamp enough that you can move the rear clamp back far enough to disengage the locating pin from the rear of the adjustment tube. There are locating holes on 1/2 inch centers along the back side of the adjustment tube. Slide the peg assembly forwards or backwards into the desired position, and making sure that the locating pin is properly seated in the desired adjustment hole, snug all 4 1032 Allen screws evenly. Sit on the bike and ensure that the fore and aft adjustment are correct and comfortable. When you have determined that it is correct, remove 1 screw at a time, apply blue Loctite, and retighten the appropriate torque. After riding the first 50 to 100 miles, recheck all the mounting screws and set screws for tightness. And that's it. So essentially, you mount the tube, and then you mount the footrest itself. Get it all adjusted up, put on blue Loctite, clamp it down. So here's what it's going to look like. We'll walk you through it step by step. All right, so here we go. We're going to get started. When we're all done, we're going to have a bar mounted approximately in that position that we'll be able to then slide this footrest forward and back on to adjust according to our leg length. So here we go. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 4 cap screws off the clamp that mounts onto the engine guard itself. And for that, I am going to use the provided Allen wrench. With the cap to the adjustment post removed, you'll notice on the inside there is a set screw that, at least on mine, came through the backside as a protrusion. That's something that you're going to use at the end of the procedure to get a good bite on the engine guard to make sure that it doesn't rotate. But for now, I want to make sure that that bolt is adjusted so that it does not poke through the middle. So I'm going to use the other Allen wrench provided and just back that screw out until it's past flush with the inside of that clamping unit. Once I made that screw flush with the interior of the clamping surface, I put the entire bracket back on and installed the 4 screws very loosely, the 10/32 screws. So the unit still pivots and I can slide it up and down the guard as needed. And what they say is you want to make sure that this is installed parallel to the ground, right, and below the cylinder head, which I'm not sure exactly how you could get it adjusted above the cylinder head, but this is kind of where we're at, right? So it's installed loosely, and now I'm going to try to adjust it for height to see where I think it works best. Due to the nature of the way the stock BMW engine guards are, they are installed in an angle. And therefore, the higher I put this adjustable bracket up on the engine guard, the farther it's going to be away from the driver's seating position. And the lower down I put it, the closer it's going to be. So one of the things you're going to have to do is kind of figure out where that happy medium is. What I like to be able to do is I like to be able to put my foot directly on the surface of the footrest, and I also like to be able to rotate this up, right, and these do rotate full 90 degrees, rotate it up and rest my heel on here. So I want to make sure that it's in a position where I can do both of those things. And I think I found that sweet spot here. So what I'm going to do with the bike on the center stand is I'm going to measure to the top of that peg, and it looks like I am at 16 5/8 inches to the top. That way I can get the other side adjusted at precisely the same height. Now that I like the position that the adjustable posts are installed, I'm going to take my Allen wrench again, remove these screws one at a time, and apply just a little bit of blue thread locker onto them. And we'll snug that back into place. And we'll repeat that action for all 4 mounting bolts. And there's the 4th bolt with the thread locker applied. And we're just going to snug those down. All right, now that we've got everything snugged into place, the next step is to tighten that center screw that we backed off in the early stage of this install to get it snug. And we want to have that to be just in contact with the engine guard bar itself. And there we go, it's right in there. And that set screw's got a cup on the end, so when I tighten it, it's going to actually cut a little bit into that finish and into that metal to get a good bite. Once we've got that done, we're going to loosen up the 2 bottom bolts, the main bottom bolts on the clamping unit, just a little bit, maybe about a half a turn. All right. And then I want to be able to look at my wrench and note its position when I put it into the center set screw hole. And I want to tighten it another 1/4 turn. So I'm just about parallel to the ground. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to push it right down till I am perpendicular to the ground, and I'm going to stop. And then I'm going to come back and retighten those bottom bolts. And that is going to really make that set screw bite into that engine guard nice and tight. And there we go, right there. All right, I can give a good yank on that, and that's not going anywhere now. So the next step is to adjust the footrest unit forward and back on the adjustment tubing that you see. You can't see this on the back side, so I'm going to take the one from the other side and hold it up here. And you'll notice that there are multiple holes on the back side of the tubing. This is the one for the other side. And what you can do is you loosen up the clamps, and rather than a set screw like you see on the clamp that we just installed to get the adjustable post on, this actually has a pin in it. And that pin will index into these adjustment holes so that those units don't slide backwards and forwards. And you can get the same adjustment on both sides. I just sat on my bike, and I'll show you again. I think this is adjusted just right for me in the forwardmost position. I can get my foot on there flat as a rest, and I can also lean my heel on that, and that way I will be able to have a couple different riding positions with these pegs, which is just what I like. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clamp these down after I put a little bit of adjustable Loctite onto the nuts, and then I'll do the other side. All right, and we're finished. So we'll do a little quick tour here. You can see it from a couple different angles. The right side went on just as easy as the left side. I took time to make sure that the height of them was exactly the same. One thing I did notice, however, was that the right side of the engine block is closer to the engine guard itself than it is on the left side. So the spacing between the adjustable bar that the foot peg slides on, you can see there we've got maybe 2 inches or so of space between the engine block and the guard. It's going to be dramatically different than, we'll do the little walk around here to the other side, and you can see that that one is only about 1 inch or so. So just the way the guard is relative to the engine block is a little bit different on this side than on the other side. But I followed the exact same procedures and it came out great. So if you're thinking about doing this install, I'd put this on a 1 level. Really easy, almost the same level of simplicity as installing the RKA tank bag. You've got 8 Allen head bolts. If you can run an Allen wrench, you can do this install. And that's it. If you can run an Allen wrench and you have 20 minutes of time and a couple $100, you can add these Ilium Works adjustable footrests in just less than a half hour of your time. Really easy to do. If installing the tank bag was a 1 and applying the clear bra was a 4, this is again another 1. There are 8 bolts, a little bit of Loctite, and an Allen wrench. We're coming up on the end of September, and our goal of achieving 100 subscribers by then. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more, make sure that you click up behind me here on the subscribe now link, and we appreciate your support. Remember, the first week of October, I'm going to be heading out on a ride, hopefully bringing you live updates from somewhere in the U.S. Depends, we're going to actually just chase the weather, and hopefully once where I'm out on the road, I'm going to sit down with the guys that I ride with, and we'll talk about how we choose our destinations and the tools we use to plan our routes. So stick around. Thanks for subscribing to Tour America.
Down the street, we get to get some